Welcome to the new Cannabis and Coffee Conversations podcast, brought to you by the ganjactivist.com magazine. Each week, we'll bring you special guests spanning the spectrum of the burgeoning cannabis industry. So tell me, what's the latest with Freedom Grow? So you're planning on going to DC in April. Do you have anything before that, or is that your next big event or big activation or activity?
Well, we have an event coming up March 10th in Miami called the Freedom Feast. And it's a intimate, small, infused dinner. The people have a option to have it infused.
Right.
And we have a top flight chef doing a small seating of just 20 people. And that's March the 10th in Wynwood, Miami. And then on March the 13th and 14th, we're in the Hall of Flowers and doing our first prisoner art gallery. So we've really been working a lot getting the art to the production company that's doing the show. So Kristin, you want to speak a little bit about that? Because you've been spearheading that.
We are super excited about this art gallery because
that sounds interesting. And this is, I understand, this is artwork from the prisoners, I'm assuming.
We're featuring artwork from people who are currently incarcerated and who have been incarcerated. So we have artwork from Randy, who served 27 years, Michael Peltier, who I believe he served 17 years. We've got purses that Andy Cox made, and I believe Andy served 13 years. We have writing that they've written, poems and letters that we're also going to be featuring.
Right.
But what we're going to be doing is selling the artwork that they've made. So we even have a rapper who did a little bit of rapping before he went into prison. So we're going to be featuring some of his music and doing quite a bit of things to be able to bring their voices to the front lines of what we're doing and make these people real to us. Because, they're locked away in prison and they're just we don't get to see them. So we'll get to see their work.
No, that's
we also have a that we're featuring that's super awesome from somebody by the name of Juan Cavazos. And Juan has served 17 years in prison already. And he's just such an amazing painter and drawer. And he drew a picture of, forget her name. What was her name, Randy?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Okay, right.
So it looks so real. We're really excited to be able to bring his artwork there as well. So
it's perfect for the election season, seeing what was happening just a few weeks ago with the Super Bowl. But that's brilliant. I think it's great to feature their work. Tell me, do you see when you look at the work of people who are currently incarcerated and those who were formerly incarcerated, do you see a difference in their type of artwork, like the themes that they might paint about?
Randy, do you want to answer that question?
Well, I took up painting while I was in the joint, and it was a great thing for me to do because it when you're painting, you can be anywhere in the world. You don't have to be in a prison cell or a room in a prison painting because you're in the painting, and it's kind of a release, and it gives you a taste of freedom. So as far as the styles go, I think each person develops their own style, whether they're in prison or not. I think it's the topics that they may paint. Okay. As you learn how to paint, you develop a style of your own.
Right.
And you take that into subject matter that you're painting. So when it comes to subject matter, now, yes, you'll probably see the subject matter is changing on the canvas itself once people get out of prison.
Okay.
And so a lot of the other prisoners that are in there, their subject matters. Well, for me, I love painting landscapes.
Okay.
While I was in the joint, and I still love to paint landscapes. I haven't been painting much lately because my path out here has been taking me to traveling and so forth. So my time to put down on the canvas has been limited because I changed my priorities, and painting used to be number one of my priorities, and now it's doing some other things that we have going on with Freedom Grow that has been taking a lot of my time up. So I think the answer to that is the style. Each person develops their own style, whether they're in prison or out, and you continue to carry your style of painting with you. But I'm sure that can evolve as your techniques get better. But also, it's your subject matter, and I do think that changes once you gain your freedom because you have so much more
material
things to visualize and see and expand on. So I think subject matters change, but your style grows with you yourself.
Right. I was gonna ask. So when you were incarcerated, how did you the landscapes? Did you visualize the landscapes and that kind of?
So So I would look through magazines.
Okay.
And look for things that to use as references.
Right.
And then I would maybe take 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever references and maybe use what I put together in collages to do a landscape.
Okay, right on. That's that's a perfect segue again. And you guys have the Wish program, which is in large part you try to provide books and magazines and so on for incarcerated people. So I mean, so is that one of the reasons why that's kind of important to you? Why you realized that was kind of your connection to the outside?
Oh, Omari, can I, when it comes to the books and the magazines, I just want to mention something about this art program. Juan Cavazos, which is somebody I just recently told you guys about, who did the Taylor Swift drawing. He was currently in a prison, or just previously in a prison in Arizona prior to this project, and we had through the Wish program, Freedom Grow had bought him about $100 worth of art supplies so that he can use in that prison. Well, just before this project came up with us, they transferred him to another prison. So he lost all of his artwork, all of his art utensils that he had. So he goes to this other prison, and we funded his art project there. We got him, some through the. He asked us, can you get us some more art supplies? We said definitely, and so that's what he used to draw this image for us. But he wasn't able to get paints because in the particular prison that he's a beautiful painter and drawer, but the prison that he went to, in order to get paints, you have to be enrolled in a class. Well, he couldn't get in the class because he had just gotten there. So that's why this particular drawing that we have is not a painting. It's because he only had access to what he has access to, pencils. So there's kind of a little story behind how that turned out to be a pencil drawing and not a painting.
No, right. I'm just interested in how people draw their inspiration while they are incarcerated. And that's interesting. So what other artists what other standout artists do you have featured in the well, tell me, are you going to be auctioning the artwork, or are you just going to be selling it?
We are going to be selling the artwork. Yes, and the benefits will benefit the Wish program. It will benefit what they ask for prisoners. They want books, they want magazines, they need commissary money. Right. So we will be providing them. Yeah.
So how does that work if you provide paint? I mean, obviously the commissary is not going to have paint. You have to purchase the paint, then they have to check it, and they would then give it to allow the prisoner to get access to it, I guess.
So with me, with the program that I was involved in, we couldn't paint in ourselves. You had to go to the art room in the recreation department.
Right. Okay.
There you had to submit a request because it's limited seating in the art room. There's only so many people that they allow to paint. And you have to go back and every 6 months apply for it because there's other people in line waiting to get into the program. So then once you get in the program, you have to do these request forms to buy the materials, the supplies that you need. You have limited types of supplies. You can't get a whole lot of things you can out here in the free society. And so with that said, then you have a locker has to be available because you have to keep everything under lock and key. And in order to mail a painting out, you have to submit a request to mail out. So it's a whole process that you go through. And with where I was at, we couldn't paint nudes and stuff like that. They was down on all of that. So it was kind of your choices of what you were painting was somewhat limited, but it was an amazing program because it really takes people to another level of how you can be creative and use what you have internally to put it on canvas. And it's a great thing to have art classes in the penitentiaries.
Right. I mean, how much time are you allowed to dedicate to the? Did you get access to that? I guess the art.
Yeah. So most prisoners must work. They have to have a job, but the prison system is so full of people. There's not enough jobs to go around. So you could be in the art room from when they open, say 9 o'clock in the morning, until about 11 o'clock or so, before lunch, because there's a recall. You have to go back to your unit on recall, wait until they have chow and they feed all the units. Then you got to go back to your unit and wait until they have a recreational move, which will allow you to go to the art room. And there you'll have until, whether it's 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, you get recalled again. They'd have a 4 o'clock count. And then if you choose not to go eat, you could go to the art room at, let's say, 5:30, whenever the count clears and chow is being called, if you don't go to the dining hall. And there's a open movement that allows you to go to the recreation department. You could go and spend another couple hours. So you could actually spend 6 hours a day in the art room if you maybe choose to skip a meal and stuff like that.
Right on. Okay, that's pretty. Okay, that's I can understand why people would gravitate towards. I mean, what is within the incarcerated population? How receptive are people to getting involved in doing artwork and so on? And I guess with your program, are you actually getting out into the world? I mean, is there how is that interest?
I'm not sure I understand the question. What's the question?
It's like with the artists that you are working with the exhibit and so on. How easily? I mean, do you have a lot of people coming to you with their artwork, or I mean, are they incentivized to do any artwork? Right? And is there
so, Kristin? We have quite a few artists that is on the list that's been sending material. We do also have some artists that are former prisoners that have been released. So we've got quite a bit of work that we'll be having at this Hall of Flowers on March the 13th and 14th.
Yeah, 13th, 14th.
Yeah, so it's a process for them. It's not an easy process for them to send paintings. If it's a certain size, like if it's anything, I forget what it is, Kristin. If it's over
8.5 by 11, I think you have to be on their visitors form.
Right. So you have to be on the visitation form, and to fill out a visitation form sometimes could be a lengthy process. By the time the whole person has gotten approved, we're not on their visiting forms, so they're sending us the sizes that is allowed for non-visitors.
Right. All right. Okay.
Yeah, and Omari, after this event in Ventura, California, at the Hall of Flowers, we are going to be headed to the Hash Bash in Michigan.
Yeah.
In Michigan, okay. All right,
Yes.
so there's quite a bit of stuff you're involved in.
Yeah, we'll be speaking at the Hash Bash, and I don't know if you've heard of the organization called Redemption Foundation, but Freedom Bro will be meeting with they're very similar organization to Freedom Bro. They do what we do and what LPP does as far as they give commissary money and to the prisoners. And anyhow, we're going to be meeting up with them and seeing how we can join forces and help people at even a greater level.
All right. So how did your fundraising go? Because I remember at the end of last year you were kind of starting a new fundraising process. Like, how did that go? Or how is that going, I should ask?
For our holiday drive, we were able to raise enough funds to send 130 children that are on our outreach list who have a parent that's incarcerated for cannabis, each a $25 gift card. We did not reach our goals. We wanted to send them at least 50 to 100 as we did the year before. But we were able to show love to every single child on our outreach list, along with being able to send every single person on our outreach list that's incarcerated, which at that time was about, I believe, about 210 people. We were able to send them each $25 in commissary money, which we did not reach our goals. We wanted to send them as well 50 to 100, but we were still able to show love to everybody on our outreach list. And I will tell you, Amari, our outreach list is growing. At this point right now, we have about 230 people on it, and we're about to add some more. We have about 20-30 people that are waiting to get verified to join that list. So we have like way too many people right now who are incarcerated for cannabis that's on our outreach list.
Right.
So it's hard.
How do people get onto your outreach list? How does that happen?
Well, if somebody wants to be on our outreach list, they just have to let us know, or we find out. If we find out somebody is incarcerated for cannabis, we add them to our outreach list. Okay. And what that means is that we can do whatever they want. If they ask us to send their girlfriend some chocolates for Christmas, or their kids some shoes for their birthday, we do that. They don't really have to do anything except for have cannabis charges or cannabis related charges.
Right, and I was going to ask that as well. So this is what Randy was saying earlier, which is something that I find absolutely unique about the cannabis industry and cannabis formerly incarcerated, presently incarcerated, and people just involved in the industry, and that is this desire and this compelling need to help those who are presently, still incarcerated, those who've gone through the system, those who are still suffering from the legacy of the war on drugs. I mean, why is that? What is it to you, to you guys? I guess why cannabis?
Well, what I see several often cannabis prisoners come out, and they'll take a lead and want to get involved with being an activist, helping their fellow brothers and sisters that are currently locked up for cannabis. But then there's also a lot of people that get out and don't get involved. So I think it balances out. Some of the people that get out, they get involved, and a lot of people get out and they go about their life and try to establish their life on a path that is not involving cannabis. So I think it depends upon the individual on what path he's going to take once he gets released. Not everyone that comes out involved with the cannabis case becomes an activist. Right. But then there's people that do, that we notice that, hey, this person, and it seems like the majority of the people coming out of prison with cannabis charges are involved in activism, but that's not the case, because a lot of people that aren't involved, you don't get to see them or hear much about them because they're on their path and doing their life in a whole nother way. So I think it balances out with the amount of people, but we're blessed that the people do come out, get involved to help spread the message and the awareness that no one should be incarcerated for this plant.
Absolutely right on. And I just saw you lashing out quite a bit at Biden. Well, I can't say lashing out, but you mentioned quite a bit in the article because of his proclamations. But understand you do help with work with people with expungement processes, correct?
Yes, we go ahead, Kristin.
We're getting involved in the area. We're currently going to be, and the next thing, of course, we want to talk about is the week in 420, where we're asking to deschedule, along with asking for demanding that the government deschedule cannabis. Freedom Grow is venturing off into just a little bit more that we're used to. We're not used to doing expungement, but we are working with Blaze Responsibly and SSDP, that's Students for Sensible Drug Policy. And we're having an expungement resource fair. So people can come to our tables during certain hours and find out how they can go about expunging their own record or getting some attorneys. Blaze Responsibly has made it their their life's mission to get every single attorney in the United States that wants to help with expungements on their resource list, so people can go to their website and find out exactly who to go to get free resources and help.
I'd love to
Excited
see
about that.
in the documentary, just even that precisely, that you're getting involved in that because you see the need for that, and how and what, yeah, and what precisely what people need to do. You know what I mean? I'd love to give people that information, but we should do that on the website as well.
If I may, speaking about expungements, is only the states can expunge your record. There is no expungement right now for federal cannabis crimes. So when you come out, you still have these issues with getting federal loans, with getting federal housing, with getting jobs. So because you're still a convicted felon. Now the state prisoners can get expunged, and that's what all these expungement clinics are about. They're getting their state sentences expunged. But the federal government yet, because it's still Scheduled 1 narcotic, it's still federally illegal. There is no such thing as a federal expungement for cannabis. And I think that's one thing that needs to be brought up and kind of shouted out as loud as it can, that there needs to be a federal expungement priority to release. Once all these cannabis prisoners released, they need to be expunged their sentences so they can go about their life in a regular manner like the rest of society.
I couldn't agree more. I think that is a critical issue. The damage was already done with incarceration, with the war on drugs, the mass, the charge stacking, all that, the 3 strikes, mandatory minimums, and all that good stuff. But then once people have, you did your time, you can't put such an impediment, in front of them for them and expect them to really lead appropriately productive lives. I'm vehemently against that. So I definitely, yeah.
Yes. And that's just one of the items of collateral consequences.
Absolutely.
Is once you come out, if you're a federal cannabis prisoner, you still dealing with the collateral damage that is part of getting a federal housing or getting a grant or getting a job or in the federal deal or getting any federal grants or anything that can help you federally with housing and stuff. You won't qualify for it because of being a convicted felon. So it's a burden that has to be lifted, and these politicians need to step up to the plate and start talking about expungement and descheduling. We're at Freedom Grow not big proponents for rescheduling. We believe in descheduling. We think this plant should not be scheduled as any type of drug, because the Food and Drug Administration then will have control over it. It will not be federally legal. You cannot grow it as a home grow federally. It will be illegal if it's rescheduled, and we are advocating for descheduling.
Right on. I was gonna ask you about exactly that, because that is the pressing question that is happening today. So I was gonna say, so all right, so as you say, so the expungement needs to happen at the state level. So which states have you worked in? Which states do you plan to work in? I mean, okay, you got these events coming up, and in New Jersey, and sorry, not in New Jersey, and DC, you have your workshops and so on. So what, I mean, yeah, well, you're going to continue with these expungement things. What is that, the new angle for Freedom Grow?
Well, it's something that we are collaborating with a couple of groups. As Kristin mentioned, Blaze Responsibly and Students for Sensible Drug Policy. We're having an expungement resource fair in Washington, D.C. Blaze Responsibly just had one in New Jersey with the New Jersey branch of Students for Sensible Drug Policy. And so Freedom Grow will collaborate with any group that wants to put on an expungement clinic or expungement resource fair. And we are personally really happy to be able to work with Blaze Responsibly, who is an attorney in New Jersey that is donating her time pro bono to help all of these people in the state of New Jersey. And she came aboard with Freedom Grow to help us with the Student for Sensible Drug Policy in the state of, in the District of Washington, D.C. So with that said, she plays responsibly, is collecting all the data for all the different states. So we'll be tied into this database that can help anybody coming out in any state to get an expungement.
That sounds like I need to do a feature on them. Actually, I'm gonna have to connect with them. But no, that sounds really interesting. If I could, I mean, down the line, even with documentary or otherwise, I definitely would love to get involved in the event side. We just kind of registered the company. Well, we just registered the company in Florida. That will be kind of a base of operation between Florida and New York. And I'd like to get involved with some of the stuff that's happening. I know it's supposed to be on the ballot, tentatively on the ballot for this year. I hopefully it's interesting things will be happening in Florida. So I'd love to kind of get involved in some of that stuff. If you do any work, or if you want to do any work stuff down there, I could definitely look to see if I could bring some partners together to make that happen. That'd be cool.
Right on. Where are you based at?
Right now I'm in Trinidad, but I mean I'm heading
Trinidad. That's right, Trinidad.
Trinidad right now. We just had Carnival a few weeks ago, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
How's the iguanas in Trinidad?
They're still big, very disgusting every now and then. It's a creepy sight. You know what I mean? They're kind of small where they're not. You're like, whoa, that's a lot bigger than I thought. But no, man, yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, how often have you been out to Trinidad? Obviously, you've been here before, yeah?
No, I just used to go to Colombia a lot, which I'm familiar with Trinidad.
Okay. What'd you say? And your adventures, did they take you into the Caribbean much? I mean, Cannabis, Caribbean.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Jamaica.
No, mostly the Eastern Caribbean, from Aruba, Netherlands, Antilles, Virgin Islands, the Bahamas.
Right, of course, right on. Okay, interesting. There are a lot. This is a very interesting. There are a lot of very interesting stories to be told from these spaces, and persons like yourself are obviously very much involved. But we do have to talk again about your story, man, your life story, and why you're still on this mission. That's what I find so interesting, because a lot of people have just kind of walked away. But again, you made it your mission to say, look, these people were wrong. We've all been wrong, but let's try to right some of this wrong. I think that's a great.
Yeah. Freedom Grow is starting to get a lot of events popping up on our calendar. We had mentioned the Washington, D.C. in April, but we also have an event in Pennsylvania, which is an amazing event.
Right on, yeah.
It's a 2-day cannabis festival with stages. Yeah. And Kristin, you can tell them a little bit about that event.
Yeah, so we're going to be leaving DC on the 19th, Friday the 19th.
Right.
And well, we're actually, some of us are going to stay, some of our board members are going to stay in DC, but then some of us are also
yeah, okay, I got you.
Some of us are going to stay there, then the rest of us are going to head down to Pennsylvania for the Pennsylvania Cannabis Festival. Zick Productions puts that on. They also put one on in Florida, and they're also doing one in Ohio, which what's really amazing about them is they care so much about Freedom Grow that they fly us in and they host us. They put us up at a place to stay just so we can educate the people that attend their event about what's going on out here. So we're super thankful. We are going to be spending the 420 weekend there. Yay. We love it there. You know, we're just grateful for the opportunity and to be there. The people that attend their events, they just love Freedom Grow. They rush to our table to sign our letters, to donate. So it's going to be a place of love for us.
Your space, it's you're into, your hearts are into it. You can feel it. The authenticity. This is why people fly you around. It's the authenticity. I'll try to get that funded through the documentary or whatever series we're working on, because we need that and get your voices out there. And I'm happy that you guys are doing it. You're on the road now. You imagine you could just be settled living in your little house and smoking a spliff. Right on. Power to you guys, man. All right, cool. So I think that's it. We can wrap it now. I think I've got quite a bit. I'm gonna couple.
Right on.
Like I said, it's going to be pieced together. I mean, there'll be quite a substantial bit of it, but I'll show you guys what we're going to put together with for the programming. Yeah, and I will get an article. I want to do a feature on the website as well as on the article, especially since you have these events coming up and so on. In fact, if you want to, I mean, I've got them down, but if you want to just give me a quick rundown of the events, that'll be cool. And I could let people, I can include that in whatever features we do, let people know that this is where you're going to be if you want to see you, yada, yada, yada.
Well, we'll look forward to meeting you up in DC.
I look forward to. I think it's gonna
hit us up. Let us know. We'll be there. We're not sure where we're staying yet, but we'll be there from the 16th through the 19th.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna definitely stay on through the 20th. But,
yeah. Well, we have a booth at the. Kristin, did we get the booth, or is that still up in the air?
So we're gonna have on Friday night, Christy from our organization and SSDP, and that's when one of our tables is for the Expungement Resource Fair is at the National Cannabis Festival Friday night, and then
it's
on
at the
Saturday, stadium, and then on Saturday, it's possible that we might have a table or that we might be sharing a table with SSDP. That's all up in the air right now. They're running out of space, so they don't know where they're going to put everybody. So we may or may not have a spot, but we're definitely going to be there for sure.
Well, then that is where we shall meet. I look forward. I'll be in touch, and thank you guys both. And thank you for joining us for another episode of the Cannabis and Coffee Conversations podcast, brought to you by GansActivists.com magazine. Join us every Friday for a new episode.